Mayor Quinton Lucas joining us right now. He's live on the phone. Thank you, Mayor, for being with us. Tough times.
It's good to be with you. It was a challenging night in Kansas City, which in many ways tarnished what was a good and peaceful protest really over the last 2 days in Kansas City. So I hope we get back to that. I hope we get back to a safe way to demonstrate.
Now, Mayor, first, let me ask you, before we focus on Kansas City, can you just talk about your thoughts and feelings on what's happening? I mean, people are tired, they're frustrated, they're upset that unarmed black men are being killed, all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what I wanted people to talk about. I mean, being a black man myself, this is something I have been thinking about, knowing about, fearing much of my own life, these interactions. And I think what we need to try to do is find a way that we can solve that, not just in Kansas City, but in communities throughout the country. It is unfortunate that yesterday, everything that I feared, I hoped we could talk about how do we bring a community together. I thought we could talk about police, black community relations, not talk about people breaking windows at a cupcake store on the Plaza, right? Not talk about tear gas, not talk about some of this stuff that, we didn't need to get to. And, I was out there. I saw people throwing bottles of water that were frozen at the police offices. I saw that sort of anger and aggression, which, frankly, I don't think was what a majority of the crowd wanted. A lot of people wanted to be heard. There are a bunch of other people that wanted to start trouble, and unfortunately, they got that last night.
Now, speaking of people starting trouble, we've heard that people are coming in from out of town to certain cities to kind of cause that trouble. Do you know if that's happened at all here in Kansas City?
I think that has happened here as well. When you talked to some of the people who are here, in some ways we're getting a lot from our region, so that's one thing to expect. But then there are a lot of other folks that want to come from even further away to be kind of part of what I think is a scene. It's unfortunate for those of us in Kansas City who are going to have to not just clean up this mess, but also try to deal with these problems ongoing. I talked to or saw a report of a gentleman from Lexington, Missouri yesterday who was kind of angry at things. And part of me wants to say, well, you know what? Why not try to fix problems in your community? I mean, that's the sort of thing that we need everybody to focus on, not just trying to go to the scene of the action, which I think we saw a lot of last night.
Now, we know, I believe 50 arrests were made so far.
Yes.
Do you have a tally on if any of those were outsiders or how many were locals?
A lot of our folks were, if not from Kansas City, certainly from Missouri and Kansas. We do not have a final tally on all of that yet, and we'll expect to have that for you on Monday. We saw a clear escalation through the night, as I know you guys were airing as well. And we hope today we will be very well prepared. You've already reported on how we worked with a number of regional agencies, Jackson County Sheriff, police departments in Overland Park and Olathe, and I thank them for that. Today, the Missouri Highway Patrol is here, and the governor's activated the National Guard. So I hope what that means is that people actually see that we want to be peaceful instead of having more conflict.
Now, we just showed some video over our conversation, and you can see that clearly there's tear gas being used. Do you think that was the appropriate response?
I'm not going to second guess at this time what the police have done. I haven't had the chance to review it. I know that we all will, and we will always constantly try to see what we can do better. So a part of it, that's what people are actually angry about, right? People see that, there was that excessive force used in Minneapolis, which then goes on to kill a man. We need to make sure that we look at what's being used, how we review it. That's the step I want to take. And that's what we'll do after this incident, as we do after every incident of police community interactions in Kansas City.
Definitely. We know there's a protest plan for tonight. Any plans for a curfew in place for us here?
I don't have a plan for a curfew. I want to let the people come. I want to let them observe, I guess, their First Amendment right freely, peacefully. But at the same time, if you're coming down, like I said, to start trouble in Kansas City, we'll be ready for you. We are here to listen to people. We're here to listen to people's pain. I said this yesterday. My community's pain shouldn't be a minstrel show for a few. And yesterday there were some folks that I think wanted to turn it into a situation that is not trying to remember the life of George Floyd and not trying to fix incidents of police-community interactions in our country. We need to get back to that message, and that's what we're committed to in Kansas City.
Mayor, you're absolutely right. We should be remembering the life of George Floyd and doing that in a way that is respectful to him and to ourselves. So thank you so much for joining us. There's so much more we could unpack, but I know we're out of time with you. So thanks again for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you.